You can hear it? Oh, hope it sounds okay. Put on the sound, don't forget.
We're live? And we're live. It's Thursday afternoon, but it's not just a regular Thursday afternoon. Today is an unbelievably special day. Today is Lag BaOmer, and hence the reason why we're outside.
Chag Sameach.
First of all, l'chaim everybody. L'chaim on coffee, but it also works. It's an unbelievable day. Today is under 20 seconds why we're celebrating today. First of all, the students of Rabbi Akiva, the great students, they stopped dying out of a plague on Lag BaOmer, and the sort of primary reason is because today is the yahrzeit, the anniversary of the passing of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, one of the greatest sages who ever lived,
Greatest mystic,
greatest Kabbalist, who authored the Zohar. And today we celebrate his life, we celebrate his contribution to Torah, which was unbelievable and unparalleled. And if you go to Israel today, about like an eighth of the Jewish population are in Miron. It's like 600,000 Jews all dancing.
Near Tzfat, right?
It's right near Tzfas in the north of Israel. And it's just the most unbelievable celebration. So there is a custom to go outside. I'm sure we'll hear the reason for that in a second.
Before you talk outside, I think also it's important to mention that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai explicitly asked that the day of his passing should be his celebration.
Correct.
And we should all join in, and it releases a tremendous power.
Correct. And also many blessings can be drawn down on this day. Many miracles have happened on this day. It's a tremendous, tremendous day. Now, we have decided for today to actually resign from our rabbinic position and to take up archery for a few hours to try it out.
We're resigning only for a few hours?
A few hours. Then we'll go back to what we do regularly. Why archery and what is the significance? But before I do, I wanted to ask you just a general question. Obviously, Lag BaOmer is a relatively recent Yom Tov, meaning relatively it's 2,000 years old, but maybe probably less than that, 1,500 years. But it's not from the Torah. It's not an explicit mitzvah to celebrate it. And of course, all these things like shooting bows and arrows on Lag BaOmer and eating colored eggs and bonfires and all the customs that have developed later, they're not explicitly in the Torah. So maybe you can give us just a brief explanation of how one should view such things. Should we laugh at them? Are they silly? Are they real? Are they true? What's it all about?
So one of the customs is shooting a bow and arrow, which I'm about to do. Then you might think it's silly because the way I shoot bows and arrows is probably not with the greatest skill. But generally customs, we have a very strong concept in Judaism, and I think probably emphasized in Kabbalah, coming from the teachings of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, that when a custom develops, like a rabbinic mitzvah, but even more so with a custom, even the custom develops that Jewish communities, sanctioned by the sages and the rabbis and the great mystics of the Jewish people, but it develops from within the Jewish people. It actually is like almost a collective divine inspiration. When the minhag develops and customs develop, they are holy, they've got depth. There's always reasons which are sometimes revealed later, but the great commentators and the mystics reveal unbelievable reasons behind them. Minhagei Yisrael, customs of the Jewish people are holy. Yeah. So should we give it a try?
Let's try the archery, and then we'll explain why we're doing this.
Okay, but I'm going to only do it if you give it a try too, okay?
Of course, that's the question.
Okay, now I'm not exactly, but this is the custom, to do it in an open space. Oh, hold on 1 second.
As you can see, we haven't, we're
my
not experts.
My producer, Yaakov Levitin, showed me how to do this before, but I have no idea.
Not bad, pretty good. See, we don't show you where it went.
That's right, come on, you give it a try now. Other way.
Okay, let's see.
It's got a little hole there where you, that's the way. Whoa. In honor of Lag BaOmer, that's it.
Honor of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai.
Uh-huh.
Okay, wasn't so successful, but we tried. The main thing in Judaism is to try. Okay, let's hear the significance of this.
Okay, so this... It's a good thing we're doing in the open, not too many people here, so not too many people are laughing. I don't know what you guys are doing at home, maybe you are laughing. No, there's actually a very deep reason. So there's a few simple reasons that are given. One of them, for example, is that in Hebrew, the bow, part of the arrow, is called keshet, which also has a translation of rainbow.
Right.
During Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's time, actually there was no rainbow, we are taught, because rainbow is a bit of a negative sign. Yeah. But God, after the flood, said he won't bring a flood, so he sends us a rainbow instead, kind of saying like, I'd like to bring another flood, but I'm not going to because I promised I won't. There's some also positive aspects of a rainbow, being the sparks of light, the lights of Torah, and so on. But there's a beautiful significance behind the bow and arrow, which I'll try and explain very briefly. I just learned this recently, and it's an amazing thing. And it goes like this. In ancient times, in ancient culture, there were two weapons. One's a sword, one's a bow and arrow. A sword is combat, close combat. It's when you fight an obvious enemy. An arrow not this kind of arrow obviously, is something that goes very, very far. In other words, you fight an enemy which you can't see, that's not obvious. Number one. Number two, the way you use a bow and arrow is, like we did before, right? In order to make sure the arrow goes really far, actually the further you bring it towards you, the further it will then go.
That's right.
So the mystics explain the following. We have within our personality obvious enemies and non-obvious enemies. So for example, when I get angry or I'm jealous or I'm unkind to you, that's an obvious enemy. I know I've got to work on it. I've got to get rid of it. I've got to get it under control. Then we have the subtle enemies, the ones that aren't so obvious. Like for example, like ego, a little subtle ego. Like
sometimes it's easy to convince yourself
yeah,
it's okay.
You convince yourself I'm doing the right thing, but really it's a bit of self-interest.
That's right.
Not such an obvious enemy. It's like a bit in the distant kind of thing. It's a bit of avoiding us. We need to be able to shoot an arrow very far to be able to get it. We have to shoot it with precision. How do we fight such a deep enemy? Because these subtle enemies are sometimes the deepest and most powerful enemies. They can get us off track very easily, and we can fall into the trap really, really quickly, right? The way you do it is you first got to dig very deeply within yourself. When you dig deep within your own neshama, with your own soul, and you discover the real purity of your neshama, the godliness within your neshama, the part of the neshama that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai taught us about, the mystical part of our neshama, the pnimis, the inside, like the inside of Torah and the inner part of the neshama. When you access that, when you access the very inner depth, then you can shoot very far and you can destroy even the invisible enemy, the subtle enemy. And that's one of the depths behind this beautiful customs. So that's what we're going to learn from. We're going to try and tap into that neshama and shoot very far. When we do it spiritually, I think we should go back to Rabbinics, because maybe when you shoot it spiritually, we'll do a better job than we did it like this.
Hopefully.
It's just a symbolism. But then, all the customs of Lag BaOmer, the dancing, the simcha, the main thing is that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said that if we join in his happiness, then we join in the power of Lag BaOmer, and Lag BaOmer brings down tremendous blessings. So I think we should wish everyone...
L'chaim, everybody. Happy Lag BaOmer.
Happy Lag BaOmer, only blessings and good things, and